stop whatever you are doing right now, lock your doors, and look closely at your screen, because the most terrifying, calculating, and chilling true crime mystery of the year has just been blown wide open. For weeks, the entire nation has been holding its breath, completely paralyzed by the disappearance of Nancy Guthrie. The man who took her thought he was a ghost. He thought he had engineered the perfect, untraceable crime. He covered his face. He covered his hair. He covered his hands with high-end tactical gloves, the exact kind specifically designed to leave absolutely no fingerprints, to shed no microscopic fibers, and to give the state-of-the-art DNA labs absolutely nothing to work with. He even knew exactly where the home security cameras were positioned, sauntering up to the front door with terrifying, arrogant confidence in the dead of night to manually blind the lens. He thought of every single detail. He prepared for every single variable. But this calculating, cold-blooded monster made one fatal, split-second mistake that is about to tear this entire kidnapping case wide open. As he reached up in the darkness to cover the camera, his heavy tactical jacket shifted. The sleeve slid back. Just 1 single inch. But in the world of high-stakes forensics, 1 inch is all it takes to end a criminal's life. He exposed his right wrist to a hidden lens, revealing a highly specific, complex tattoo. That 1 inch of ink was never meant to be seen by the public. It was a secret, a permanent brand tied to a world so dark and so dangerous that it changes the entire trajectory of this investigation. You think you know how this manhunt is going? You have absolutely no idea. The truth behind this ink has just been decoded by a 30-year veteran of the tattoo industry, and what it reveals about the monster who took Nancy Guthrie is so utterly terrifying, so deeply tied to the criminal underworld, that it is going to shake the internet to its core. We are not just looking for a random kidnapper anymore. We are looking at a highly organized threat, and his identity is unraveling right before our eyes. To understand the sheer terror of this massive breakthrough and why the FBI is treating this single frame of footage like the Holy Grail, we have to go back to the chilling night the nightmare actually began. On February 1st, 2026, Nancy Guthrie vanished without a trace from her home in the quiet, upscale Catalina foothills of Tucson, Arizona. The town was instantly paralyzed with a gripping, suffocating fear. Who took her? How did they manage to bypass the security? Was it a crime of opportunity? Or was it someone she knew intimately? The internet immediately began pointing fingers, but the authorities quickly and decisively cleared Nancy's family, including her sister Savannah and her brother-in-law Tommaso Cioni, who had driven her home that exact evening. Sheriff Chris Nanos made it explicitly clear, they are not suspects. But clearing the family didn't solve the case. It made the reality infinitely more terrifying. This meant a predator had been stalking her. A phantom was watching her house, studying her daily routine, tracking her movements, and waiting patiently in the shadows for the perfect, vulnerable moment to strike. The police were desperate for a single lead, and the trail was rapidly going cold. The physical evidence was practically non-existent. But the most chilling detail of all was the digital silence. Nancy's Nest doorbell camera had mysteriously gone offline at exactly 1:47 a.m. on February 1st. The system had been deliberately and skillfully disconnected. The kidnapper knew the technology. He knew how to plunge the house into digital darkness. Whatever that camera had witnessed in those agonizing early morning hours was supposedly gone forever, or so he thought. In a move that the kidnapper never could have anticipated, FBI cyber agents bypassed local storage, partnered directly with Google, the parent company of Nest, and performed a miraculous forensic extraction of residual data buried deep in Google's back-end servers. They pulled the ghosts back from the machine. They recovered the deleted timeline. And what they found hiding in that corrupted, recovered footage was the exact moment this phantom made the biggest mistake of his criminal career. This wasn't just a break in the case. It was a digital resurrection that brought the monster out of the shadows and directly into the unforgiving light of a federal investigation. 9 agonizing days after Nancy disappeared, the FBI decided to release this recovered footage to the public. and it sent absolute shockwaves across the entire globe. The video is the stuff of actual nightmares. The footage shows a masked figure, heavily layered in a black hoodie, an unremarkable jacket, and a balaclava, a purpose-built face covering designed to leave zero skin exposed. He is carrying an Ozark Trail backpack, a deliberately untraceable Walmart brand, and, most terrifyingly, a firearm holstered with chilling intention. He doesn't run, he doesn't panic. He moves toward the house with what former FBI Special Agent Brianna Fox described as a saunter, like he owned the property. But as he confidently reaches his gloved hand up to completely obstruct the lens, the unimaginable happens. The camera captures a sliver of his identity, permanently written in ink on the inside of his right wrist. The internet exploded, but the real bombshell came when legendary FBI profiler Jim Clemente took one look at this footage and shattered the entire narrative. Clemente spent decades building psychological profiles on the most complex, twisted criminals in American history. When he looked at this heavily armed, masked phantom, he didn't see a criminal mastermind. He went on national television and declared, "He revealed a tremendous amount. He is not a professional." Think about the weight of that statement. This man chose untraceable bags, concealed holsters, and tactical gloves. He severed the Wi-Fi connection. By every visible metric, he prepared flawlessly. But Clemente realized the fatal flaw. A true professional doesn't just cover their face. A professional covers their biography. By exposing that tattoo, the suspect handed the FBI a massive operational filter. Clemente explained that this ink isn't just a clue. It is a narrowing tool that instantly takes a suspect pool from millions of people down to thousands, down to hundreds, and potentially down to one single name. The suspect thought he was untouchable, but he just gave the FBI the exact weapon they needed to hunt him down. But just when investigators thought they had a clear path, the story took a twist so dark and so deeply embedded in organized crime, it left the entire nation stunned. The FBI knew they couldn't just look at this tattoo. They had to translate it. They brought in Darren Rosa, a craftsman who has spent 30 years learning how to read ink like a language. Known as the Dude in the New York City tattoo scene, Rosa isn't a cop. He is an underground expert who understands exactly what placement, shading, and style communicate about a human being's violent past. What Rosa revealed turned this investigation upside down. Rosa definitively identified the ink as a black and gray fine line style, a highly specific genre that is an absolute hallmark of Southwestern gangs and cartels. He explained that this style was born in the penitentiary system, where inmates mastered subtle gradations of ink using single needles. This isn't just art. It is a highly regulated visual record of status, violence, and rank within a dangerous criminal hierarchy. But then Rosa dropped the ultimate, sickening revelation that completely changes the kidnapper's profile. Looking at the fragment on the wrist, Rosa confirmed that this is not an isolated piece of art. It is almost certainly the continuation of a massive, full arm sleeve. And in the cartel and gang world, a full sleeve comes with a terrifying guarantee. Rosa stated with absolute certainty, he's most likely got tattoos on his hands, on his neck, or maybe under his eye. Let that horrifying reality sink in for a second. Read the script again. The suspect wore a heavy balaclava, a thick hooded jacket, and tactical gloves in the warm, early morning temperatures of Tucson, Arizona. For weeks, every analyst assumed he was just hiding his face from the cameras. They were dead wrong. He wasn't just hiding his face, he was hiding a walking, inescapable map of his criminal history. Without that heavy tactical gear, without the mask, his heavily tattooed face, neck, and hands would make him instantly, unmistakably recognizable to anyone who crossed his path on the street. He didn't walk out of his house looking unremarkable. He walked out looking like a masked monster because his own skin is his biggest liability. As this terrifying profile goes viral, the walls are rapidly closing in on the suspect, and the public pressure is reaching an absolute, suffocating boiling point. The true crime community is dissecting every single frame, but behind closed doors, elite forensic experts are moving in for the kill. Investigators made a massive physical breakthrough. They recovered the suspect's DNA. They found a black glove dropped approximately 2 miles from Nancy's property, and they extracted a complex mixed DNA sample directly from inside Nancy's home. Initially, the DNA was run against CODIS, the FBI's national database of 27 million convicted offenders, and it produced no match. This means his past crimes were either sealed, out of jurisdiction, or he has somehow evaded federal capture until now. But the lack of a database hit isn't stopping the manhunt. It's just changing the weapon. The investigation has aggressively pivoted to investigative genetic genealogy, IgG. This is the exact same revolutionary, undeniable science that dragged the Golden State Killer out of hiding after 40 years. C.C. Moore, the chief genetic genealogist at Parabon Nanolabs, issued a chilling public warning directly to the kidnapper. It is just a matter of time until they discover who that DNA belongs to. This is not a hopeful guess. It is a statement of absolute mathematical certainty. They are building his family tree right now. Simultaneously, digital forensics experts are pulling the net tighter. Analysts like Heather Barnhart have confirmed that investigators are executing massive digital search warrants on Google and Apple, demanding cell tower pings, location data, and purchase histories for every single device that was near the Catalina foothills that night, and tracking every person who bought a 25-liter Ozark Trail backpack in the state. The suspect's phone is the silent witness to his crime, and it is betraying him at this very second. You would think the impending DNA match, the digital tracking, and the decoded tattoo were the final nails in the coffin. You would be dead wrong, because there is one final, chilling investigative thread that the mainstream media has completely ignored. And it proves exactly how massive this conspiracy really is. Just down the street from Nancy Guthrie's home, a neighborhood utility box was recently vandalized with graffiti, and investigators quietly brought in elite gang tag specialists to analyze the paint. Why would the FBI care about random neighborhood vandalism during a high-stakes kidnapping? Because they aren't looking at vandalism. In the criminal underworld, the exact same visual language, symbols, and iconography that gangs permanently carve into their skin are the same symbols they spray paint onto walls to mark their geographic territory. The graffiti near the crime scene aligns perfectly with the specific gang culture of the suspect's decoded wrist tattoo. These are not two separate investigations. They are converging into an inescapable federal trap. The tag specialists are reading the walls. The genealogists are reading the DNA. The FBI is reading his ink through national gang registries. This proves they are no longer just hunting a lone, opportunistic kidnapper. They are hunting a highly structured organization. The suspect is out there right now, watching the news, realizing that his own skin, his own blood, and his own gang's graffiti have betrayed him. He is changing his appearance, sweating through every second of the day, but he cannot outrun a federal database. The trap is set. The hunters are closing in. But what happens when a cornered, heavily armed cartel member realizes he has absolutely nothing left to lose? This suspect is running out of time, but he is still out there, and someone watching this exact video might hold the key to ripping his mask off forever. To blow this case wide open, the FBI has put a $100,000 bounty on his head, and the Guthrie family has added a staggering, life-changing $1 million personal reward. We are talking about $1.1 million for a single, anonymous phone call. Loyalty in the cartel and gang world is finite, and silence has a massive price tag. The FBI is banking on the fact that the suspect's inner circle runs on an economy of trust, and $1 million is enough to make a best friend, a girlfriend, or a gang rival pick up the phone and end this nightmare. If you recognize this tattoo style, if you know someone who suddenly went missing in February, or if you have any information about Nancy Guthrie's disappearance, You must call 1-800-CALL-FBI immediately or submit a tip online at tips.fbi.gov. What do you guys think about this massive forensic breakthrough? Do you think the $1 million reward is going to make his own gang turn him over to the feds? I need to hear your most intense theories right now. Drop them in the comments below. If you want to stay on the bleeding edge of this manhunt, you absolutely must hit that like button and subscribe with the notification bell turned all the way on. I am tracking this case by the hour, and the second this monster is dragged out in handcuffs, you will be the first to know. Stay safe, stay vigilant, and I will see you in the next update.